Hello, everybody. It has been a while since we last spoke. Since you've heard me or Frank or anybody else on the WEDF team by voice. This is just kind of a catch-up video, right? Just gonna let everybody know what's happened, what's going to be happening, and where everything's going to go from here. So we made the 2K22 update. Things are going to go fine, but the more that we kind of got familiar with 22, the more problems that arose. And there was some behind the scenes things, just I don't want to say drama, but it really kind of set us back. There was a lot of option weighing, and there was a lot of things that were going on with everybody, and just how everybody felt about everybody else. A lot happened, and that set us back the entire 2K22 and 2K23 life cycles. We're so sorry about that. Just a lot of personal drama and a lot of just life in general, and a lot of reconsideration in regards to not just the future of WWEDF on a massive scale, but also just booking reconsiderations. In the middle of the year, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotunda passed away. The recent Brock Lesnar allegations have kind of affected a lot of the booking plans, and just shifts in who's booking what and what's going on. Everything's kind of been pretty hectic, and so we've all just been kind of weighing the options here. But me and Frank have kind of agreed to, okay, this is going to be we're going to be retooling the rosters quite significantly. Me and Frank have kind of agreed, okay, this is where this guy's going, with where that guy's going. So we've retooled a lot of the WWEDF roster to a point where we're satisfied, and we have been kind of booking behind the scenes. We have been kind of crafting out our shows. Frank is still doing Raw. I'm taking over for SmackDown, and yeah, I have some exciting stuff planned for SmackDown, and I hope you'll give me a shot as SmackDown booker. But with me doing SmackDown, where does that leave WEDF NXT? I don't know. I'm going to be upfront about this. And this is probably not the first time that Frank has heard about this. I've told him about this. I've told him my desires to do this. But this is the first time I'm actually talking about it, so I guess now I'm committing to it. Right? I guess now I'm going to commit to it. NXT, when the whole personal drama happened, right? I don't want to get into too many specifics on what happened, but there was a time where, and this is still the plan right now, but I'm kind of going to spitball some new ideas here. There was an idea I had where I was going to move my WWEDF NXT roster to my own personal channel. I was going to move the WWEDF NXT characters, storylines, champions, all to this new show, this new endeavor called NXT Pro Wrestling. And that was going to be my thing in 2022 and 2023. But perfectionism is a hell of a thing. And so I have spent that entire time span in 2022, 2023 just retooling, redoing NXT Pro Wrestling over and over and over, just trying to make sure I've got it right to a point where I'm happy with it and I feel okay putting it out there for a mass audience to see, regardless of how much smaller it may be than WEDF was when we were, a few years ago. I've just been kind of not sure of how to get everything to my ultra perfectionist standards. I have not been able to have NXT Pro Wrestling meet those. And ever since I started, doing work on WWF SmackDown, I've kind of also been toying around with the idea of, okay, now that I'm doing SmackDown, what do I do with WWF NXT? And I don't think I'm going to be able to continue with WWF NXT as is. And what I mean by that is so many of the NXT people, roster members, wrestlers, all of them are across Raw and SmackDown now to create a more up-to-date product for WEDF, that it's basically my entire NXT roster all called up across Raw and SmackDown. So it would be really impractical, maybe not impossible, but really impractical for me to do NXT with the original roster I had in mind, which is why even when I started working on SmackDown, I was going to do WEDF NXT Pro Wrestling on my own channel, because it feels like with what we cooked up behind the scenes, I would not be able to do WEDF NXT as it originally was and how I'd want to do it. But this leaves me with, I see like two options with the future of WEDF NXT, maybe three. One is I do NXT Pro Wrestling with a lot of the older guys, probably not the older champions. That would depend on how close I stick to WWF NXT. It kind of depends on if that would be a thing people would respond to and like be receptive toward, or if it would just be no, start fresh, new storylines, new characters, new gimmicks, just total reboot of the NXT universe, and do your own thing on your own channel, whole separate entity, because it's been like 2-3 years. We remember diddly fuck. That's kind of my concern too, is that I'm not sure how much people remember. I think when I'm about to start SmackDown, I'm going to do like a recap video for at least SmackDown. So that way everybody's all caught up. But yeah, you know what, this will put my fucking mind to rest. I'm indecisive as hell. Let me know what you'd want to see actually from the three options. I haven't laid down option 2 or 3 yet, but I'd like to have like an actual opinions, like a mass opinion on what I should do with NXT. So option 1 is do NXT Pro Wrestling on my own channel. Have it be a complete reboot, a complete reset, no homework needed. Option 2 is to do NXT Pro Wrestling on my channel and have it be a continuation or like a successor to, like a sequel series to WEDF NXT. So you'd see like Aleister Black as the champion, Pete Dunne as the Cruiserweight champion, Ember Moon as the women's champion, and you see people like Jay White, The Undisputed Era would be together. Just kind of that sort of what I had going on before in NXT. So you'd have like Asuka and Ember Moon feuding with each other. You would have just whatever I was doing with the original WWF NXT, with probably some necessary changes. Option 3 is to hand NXT off to WWF NXT off to someone else while I do either option A or B on my own channel. So I am the second person to have done WWF NXT, like actually post videos about it and have produced stuff for it. Josh would be is the first, and option 3 would be I give the keys to the WWF NXT Kingdom to someone else for 2K24 and beyond, and they'd just be able to do their own thing, their own vision, just whatever they want to do with NXT, just free reign to do whatever they'd want. Or, and this is the one that's newest in my mind, option 4, I know I said I had option 1 to 3, but I kind of just came up with the option B. Actually, option 2 was the newest in my mind, but out of the major ones, option 4 is the newest in my mind, which is the option to do WEDF NXT 2.0, or whatever a reboot would be called, do it myself, and the only thing that would carry over is like maybe the champions, maybe some of the stars, but it wouldn't be like, oh, is Roderick Strong going to join the Undisputed Era? Oh, what's going to happen with Dakota Kai, Ruby Riott, blah, 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 blah. I wouldn't carry over those storylines to an NXT 2.0. And even if I did do NXT Pro, I feel weird about carrying over all those previous storylines. I guess it's like, it only if you guys say, no, we want your take on Roderick Strong joining the Undisputed Era, blah, 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 blah. Because I feel like those storylines are so outdated by now, and that's kind of why we also decided to do like a whole redraft, is there was a lot of aspects of the WWF production and just the general like mentality and general like layout of things that was very outdated, and I feel like people don't want to see outdated. They kind of want to see, oh, how's WWF going to handle the bloodline? How's WWF going to introduce Rhea Ripley? How are we going to do Carmelo Hayes, Braun Breaker, Gunther, and Imperium? And I feel like with how WWF was before, it would have been really difficult to try and pull all that off. It would have been like clashing. So we kind of came up with the idea to kind of reset WEDF. Not in terms of like storylines or anything, but in terms of like the roster. Few people get released here, few people get updated there, few people get added there, etc., etc. And I feel like with NXT, that's taken so much talent out of my old NXT board that it would be really hard to try and just jump back into WEDF NXT. But those are my 4 options in regards to WEDF NXT. Is A, I do a reboot on my channel. 2, I do like a sequel series on my channel where I carry over some of the storylines, I carry over the champions, and I carry over general presentation of the characters however I can. I know that someone like a Juice Robinson or David Finlay would be really difficult now because they've had whole ass, like, complete 180 degree repackagings and revitalizations since the last WWF NXT show was posted. So that would be a little tricky to navigate. Option 3 is to completely hand WEDF NXT off to someone else. Now, I'm the Triple H, and, I'd give it all, hand over NXT to Shawn Michaels. Let him do NXT 2.0. Or 4, I just do NXT 2.0 myself. Those are the 4 options with WWF NXT. I have calls made in WWE 2K23, so I guess that's the most important thing. That's the thing you're going to be here for. Is the plan is, right? The plan right now with the games is I'm going to use both 2K23 and 2K24, especially since 2K24 at the time of me recording this just came out for the masses. I've had it for a few days because of early access. You guys saw the special guest referee match. That was a reference to the Great Force. I'm glad someone caught it in the comments. And it would just kind of be like, we kind of go back and forth depending on the needs of the story, the needs of what we have available in one game or another. It would just kind of be, we kind of go back and forth. Okay, so here is the long and short of everything. WEDF is in development. We are cooking. It's going to come back. We have a plan. We have bookings for it. It's just a matter of everything being set up in the games and organized and just ready to record, which I should not be too far away from doing. I'm going to be recording Raw and SmackDown and United because Frank is having some technical issues on his end with getting the hardware needed to record to do WWF, so it's going to be a me production. You're going to be able to tell. I'm going to be doing Raw, SmackDown, United in terms of like the recording and editing, probably the commentary. Well, I'll see on that front. I'm booking SmackDown, so that's going to be another thing I'm doing. NXT, on the other hand, is going to be a reboot on my channel, a sequel on my channel, I guess a continuation. So a reboot on my channel, a continuation on my channel, someone else takes over, or I do a reboot on this channel. And lastly, we are going to be using 2K24 and 2K23 simultaneously in the future of WEDF. Alright, I've been CJ from WEDF. Connor, until next time, and don't worry, we're cooking.